All right. Okay, I'm back. I have my microphone unmuted. I have the camera. And it looks like Gran Turismo is now working as it should. So, if you want to know anything else, please watch the previous live video where I explain um, the settings I'm using for the Suzuki Scudo on this track, alright? Because it's limited, this competition entry requirements are 800 performance points, and with soft racing tires, with the maximum downforce I had for the Nürburgring at front and rear, it was above 800, so I just reduced the front downforce a bit. So let's do this. Wow, this is beautiful. The balloons. Wow. And in HDR, I play on the TV. It's a 65-inch Philips Ambilight. Wow, it's beautiful. Actually, I need to one of these days. I don't know, make a video of my setup because it's absolutely beautiful. Because all the sky is blue. And the way the Ambilight technology works is basically the Ambilight Philips TVs have LEDs in the back, and it lights up the back of the TV with the colors based on the area of the screen. The idea is to try to to expand the image outside the TV, so to make even kind of as when you have a projector, a very large area. So now, because, all right, not too bad, could have been worse. So now, because I need to focus because, there's tire wear, and do I have enough fuel for this? Fuel map, laps remaining 4. Okay, let's try. Okay, I need to focus. I'll talk about the Ambilight, but it's beautiful. All my wall above the TV and to the sides is blue. Yeah, and I don't know these circuits. Alright, so let's go. I'm the last one. Okay, let's go into radar and I'll focus on what I'm doing and back to you in a bit. Bye-bye. 'Yep, I cannot. Wonder if I'll get a penalty for crossing the pit lane. So nice to be in the desert in my Suzuki Scudo. Right, focus. 45 seconds to the first car. Wow, that's a lot. I wonder if this is the right car for the circuit. I think it's just my lack of knowledge of the circuits. And because I wasn't focusing at all and driving, I was just focusing on explaining stuff. In English, which is not my native language because I'm Portuguese. So yeah. Even though I've lived in Edinburgh, Scotland for 12 years, English still doesn't come as easily as my first language. Ooh, right. Okay, 8 seconds. Let's see if I'm gaining time or losing time. Okay, definitely gaining time. I'll need to refuel in a bit. Okay, this is a tight corner, which, yeah, it gets tighter in the end. Well, haven't raced in this circuit for ages. Mostly I just did Nürburgring. I only do other stuff to progress in the game. And I don't think I've ever played with a fast car here. Okay, I need to refuel on... I think I should have I could have even made the gearing shorter. I don't think I'm even using 6th gear. That was better. Oh. Oh, okay. I use 6th gear there. What does blue flag mean? I'm being... Oh, blue flag. I understand now. This is a faster car. Here you go, mate. Ooh, a Group 1 Jaguar. Oh, wow, okay. So maybe I can use the Porsche 962 in here, and it would be better for this circuit, actually. Okay, I'll try to follow this guy, which is the first one. And fail miserably. Right, okay, I think I have the wrong car for the job. And now I'm doing a bit of off-road. Hello, you. What happens if I kill this guy? Oh, I can kill him. Ah, that's unfortunate. This is not GTA, to be fair. Yeah, so definitely, I don't think I'll make it to the podium, but I'll try to finish the race anyways and get to learn the circuits. And now the pits are in there. Okay, there you go, pits. Right, don't change tire. Oh, oof. I didn't change the tires and my tires are gone. Great. Okay. I don't... Should I continue this? You know what? I'll continue just for the experience of running on wasted tires. I never ran with... And what I'll do is full power with wasted tires. particularly the left one. Yeah, this circuit is all going right. Yeah, I see the blue flag, but there's actually no one behind me, is there? No. I think the blue flag is for people who overtake me because they're lapping me, right? Okay, they're coming there. Oi, oi, oi. Yep, keep way too fast with cars. Oh, Suzuki Scudo. I guess the difference is that, whoa, this one must have better fresher tires, I assume. Not completely wasted tires like mine. Oh, hiya. You know what, I'm not going anywhere with this, so I'll just stop here. Well, maybe not. My girlfriend just arrived, I want to talk with her, but actually I felt like I was faster than that same Scud. Alright, this is pointless. I'll... Wow. One thing's for sure, the replay of this race will be interesting. These jumps, I really want to see them. Oof. Oh, the moon there, so nice. I can't get tired of listening to this engine and this gearbox. The gearbox is like ultra aggressive. And the engine of this fabulous. High revving. Just amazing. Oof, 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 oof. Eek, oof, oof. What are you all in my ear? Yeah, this corner, closes in the end. Yeah. Much better now. Getting to know the circuit, much better. But I think this car is less fuel efficient than the Group 1 cars. So I think it's not the right car for this. Because it goes through far more fuel than the Group 1 cars. So I don't think I could do... Because when I started, and I realized that it's a long run and I would have to refuel, I checked the fuel map. I went to fuel map and put it on 3, linear, because I don't think I would have fuel enough to refuel only in the middle of the race. So yeah. Right, I'm going to leave you with the replay, and yeah, come back in a bit and probably change car for this. See you in a bit.